Yo, Rantlers! It's Nick again here with another Reviews on Realism. Today I'm going to be reviewing Some Voices. It's a film from 2000, directed by Simon Kellan-Jones, starring Daniel Craig and David Morrissey. I've got to say, going into this, I'm not really a big fan of Daniel Craig or David Morrissey. I've seen them in quite a few things and they haven't impressed me that much, but Daniel Craig was very good in Our Friends in the North, and I believe this film was... I think the guy who directed most of Our Friends in the North then moved into films, and this was the first one he did with Daniel Craig, so they seem to carry a lot of that over. And also David Morrissey is very good in this, so maybe I just need to see more by them. Anyway, this film is about Daniel Craig's character he's the brother of David Morrissey, and he's just the opening scene of the film. He's just been released from some sort of institution. It doesn't explain it fully, which is something I love, and I'll go back to later. But he comes back, and his brother has taken over the restaurant that their dad owned, and I think his dad had drunk himself to death or something. He hadn't kept the business up, so that this brother had sort of taken on the responsible part of the family. He's had to take that on because his other brother Daniel Craig has these problems and he can't sit still or anything. It never goes into what's wrong with him properly, but he's on medication and he's just been in an institute. And I love that it doesn't go into that, because if this film was made now, the focus of the film would be what his exact mental illness was, because this is how we make films nowadays. The primary thing is the mental illness and the symptoms, and the character is secondary. In this film, he's a character who has these problems. What's important is you living with him and seeing how he deals with these problems and what happens to him, not the illness as such. And it's refreshing watching that now because of that. Like what I said about Carla's song, it's 90% politics, 10% character. Now a mental health thing is 90% symptoms, 10% character, and you can't make a film about symptoms. You wouldn't go out and make a documentary about someone who was displaying those symptoms and then say, I've made a documentary about these symptoms. You'd say it's about this person and their life and what they're doing, what they're trying to get done, what's happening in their lives, etc., etc. This is something that bugs me. Anyway, it was refreshing in this film because it's an older film that the focus was on the character. So we have this character, and he goes into... He sort of pursues this girl. It becomes a romance, but it's much more natural, not like in Carla's song where he's just chasing her around. They sort of bump into each other. He's just sort of flitting about, not really doing a lot with his life, bumps into her again, and then they start on something, and it's believable in this instant because the girl that he falls in love with is Kelly MacDonald from Trainspotting. She's also just got out of a relationship with this aggressive Scottish man, and so they're both sort of a bit lost, a bit looking for each other, and they're both a bit flaky, a bit unpredictable. Not flaky, that's a bad word, but they're a bit unpredictable. So it makes sense that those two in that position would go off and do whatever they wanted, because neither of them had anything really tying them down at that point. So it makes a lot of sense. The relationship between between Daniel Craig and his brother is very good, because his brother is so serious. His brother is like, no, you have to knuckle down, you have to sort everything out. And this is I think a lot of people have this sort of thing, especially growing up. A lot of people think like this. A lot of people will want to be just going out getting drunk all the time, like I was for a long time. And at some point you've got to start working. But he's had to do it a lot younger, and David Morrissey's character's had to do that a lot younger than Daniel Craig, and Daniel Craig is now getting on and not doing it. So there's a good balance of arguments there, but he's also got this mental illness, and it manifests itself occasionally, and even if he seems like he's on the right track, that can knock him back as well. So there's a lot of drama and a lot of trouble in this film, and it's good. It's a good film. It's the year 2000 it came out, so at the start of the film I was worried that it starts off and it has this sort of ravey Danny Boyle flashy editing thing, and I thought that might drag it down, but it's not there that much. It's in it at the beginning, and then there's a few bits where he's having mental episodes and it comes back, but it's very inventive the way it's done there. It's not just a stylish thing. You're starting to see his mind start to crack, and you're seeing glimpses of the worst of his condition and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not a predictable film. It's a film that it feels real, even though some of it is stylized and some of it goes into his POV and his mental illness. You never feel like you never feel like that's taking over the character. You always feel like you're with him, even if you don't understand him. So yeah, I would recommend that. It's a good watch. It's a good watch. If you liked Our Friends in the North as well, because those two, the director and Daniel Craig, seem to work together very well, and the troubled characters. That's probably why he cast him. because they'd already done it very well. So they did it again very well. And it's a good view of London at that time period as well. Not that I was there, but it seemed like that's what it was. So yeah, some voices, I'd say 8.5 out of 10. It's available to watch on Amazon Prime as well. I'll put a link below, so if you want to watch it there. Yeah.
Now then, if you liked video, then click subscribe. If you didn't like it, well then bug off. No, don't really subscribe anyway.